Good morning, everyone. My name is Andy Hall. You may call me Dr. Kennard if you want to. This is the Disappointed Cat morning show where we talk the words, we reveal idiocy, right-wing lunacy, Christo-fascists. What is the main story today about Kevin Sorbo, Christo-fascist, faith-based actor? I use that in the most liberal sense. There's a pun there somewhere, everyone. Forgive me. Kevin Sorbo. What can we say about Kevin Sorbo? I don't know what your favorite quote from Kevin Sorbo is, but this is mine. He was defending Mel Gibson and The Passion of the Christ. Some of you already know where I'm going with this. There were charges that The Passion of the Christ was anti-Semitic, and this is Kevin Sorbo's defense of The Passion of the Christ and Mel Gibson. News bulletin, you, as in Jewish people, did kill Jesus. Wow, Kevin Sorbo, it's almost as if you say words and you don't think about them. Or maybe he was. This is actually how he feels. This is how certain Christians do feel that the Jews did kill God. That was actual official Catholic doctrine up until 1964. I just want to remind everybody about that. So why are we talking about Kevin Sorbo today? I'm glad you asked. Former Hercules star Kevin Sorbo's vaccine trolling tweet backfires badly. I'm just going to show. Let's just do it. Here it is. If the shots were given away for free because they're life-saving, why isn't insulin free? Chemotherapy, EpiPens. Oh, my friends who are in Commonwealth countries, in most industrialized countries, we know that most industrialized countries have universal health care. Is Kevin Sorbo kind of backing up into an argument for universal health care? He meant to disparage the jab, but yet he seems to be making a very cogent argument for universal health care. And Twitter, my friends, you can say whatever you want about Twitter, but it does reveal idiots. Okay, here's like two responses that are near and dear to my heart right here. Endorsing universal health care to own the libs. Is anyone surprised that Kevin Sorbo would be trying to own the libs and then putting his foot in his mouth? I am not surprised. And there's one other image I want to share with you, especially for my friends in Canada, the UK, Australia. Oh, wait, what is this? Welcome to the resistance, Kevin. Hashtag universal coverage. And let's look at all these countries that do have universal health care. Japan, Italy, Israel, Iceland, New Zealand, Austria, Chile, Turkey. And of course, who doesn't? That down there in the corner, down there in the trouble bubble, that's the US of A. The US of A. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention how great Kevin Sorbo's acting abilities are, and the movies he's done. What are some of the titles of the movies he's done? God's Not Dead. Let There Be Light, that has Cliff from Cheers in it as an angel. And it's something about Miraculous. No, I'm sorry, it is Miracles. Of course, he was, Hercules in that TV series. Here's a little bit of his acting ability, everyone, from the trailer of God's Not Dead. I'm going to share this with you right here. Let's see if this works.
We're going to put God on trial.
If you think you're smarter than me, do not try to humiliate me in front of my students. In that classroom, there is a God. I'm him.
This experiment is over. You get to decide who the most important person in your life is. Me Professor Radisson.
But I have to do this thing. Like it's something that...
So there you go. I didn't want to show you too much of God's Not Dead because we're here to celebrate life and to celebrate rationality. And any more than that small bit from that trailer from God's Not Dead, it's just going to kill your brain cells. That's what it is. There should be a disclaimer. This movie kills rationality. This movie kills skepticism. All right, everyone. I'm going to check out the chat. And see what's going on. Good morning, everyone. You know, this is interesting because John Hudson did point out something interesting that I read about Kevin Sorbo, about how he suffered a few strokes. Actually, he had an aneurysm in his shoulder, and he was at a chiropractor. And this can happen when you're going to a chiropractor and they're doing the jamming your body up. It released blood clots in Kevin Sorbo from the shoulder and went up into his brain. So he got 4 strokes that way, and he got 4 strokes. I read about it just before coming on, and there's nihilist saying there's a 1 in 75 million chance of having a stroke and an aneurysm. Sorbo did, praise God. The thing is that it wasn't just by chance. It was because a chiropractor was trying to work his shoulder, and that created the strokes. Good morning, John Christian. Good morning, Bonnie. Good morning, Bonnie. Cryptameria. Good morning. It's only 4 minus Celsius. It was really cold here yesterday. It was a nasty day yesterday. Good morning. Here in Massachusetts. Good morning, Simply Secular Dave from the West Coast. Good morning, Jessi Bear. I hope I got everyone. I don't know, I'm scared. You go, Kevin Sorbo. You run that Jesus vessel straight into the ground. That's right. Julie, Wine and Reason, working and listening. What? Maybe Kevin Sorbo stumbled across a nugget. You know, sometimes people get the right answer. Do you remember in school when you had a math problem and you came about the answer in the wrongest of ways, but you still got the right answer somehow by chance? That's what Kevin Sorbo did right there. That's what Kevin Sorbo did when he, and I just want to show this again. If shots were given away for free because they're life-saving, why isn't insulin free or chemotherapy or EpiPens? Yeah, you see, he came up to the right answer, which is, why isn't it all free? But he did it. The teacher would just look at the paper and say, Kevin, you got the right answer, but the process is all wrong. All right. So that was a bit about Kevin Sorbo this morning. I hope that puts a smile on your face. You know, actually, the next story should put your smile on your face, because while Kevin Sorbo preaches deeply held thoughts and feelings, fantasy worlds, science delivers, everyone. Science effing delivers. And this story right here, links in the description below. Paralyzed man with severe spine walks thanks to implant. That's right. Science actually does stuff and makes your life better. It is the first time someone who has had a complete cut to their spinal cord has been able to walk freely. The same technology has improved the health of another paralyzed patient to the extent that he has been able to become a father. I have to tell you, I read that sentence and I'm not really sure what that means. I get the implication that the man can now fornicate properly because of this implant. I'm digressing. I just wanted to point that out, how odd that sentence is. Now I'm going on with the story. The research has been published in the journal Nature Medicine. Michael Riccati was paralyzed after a motorbike accident 5 years ago. His spinal cord was completely severed, and he has no feelings at all in his legs. But now he can walk because of an electrical implant that has been surgically attached to his spine. From what I understand of the article, it is a bridge. It acts as a bridge. So signals come down from the brain to the spinal cord, goes through the implant to connect to the nerves that are active in the spine. That is my basic stupid brain interpretation of events. But let's keep going with the story. The research has been backed by Dr. Ram Harahan, a consultant to Northern General Hospital in Sheffield, who is an independent of the research team and speaks for the Spinal Injuries Association. They have done something that has not been done before. I've not heard of any study where they have put in an implant into a patient that has a complete spinal cord cut and demonstrated muscle movements and improving balance enough to stand and walk. But he added more clinical trials need to be carried out before he could be convinced that it was an effective treatment. See, just because you can, yes, exactly. Science you have to replicate over and over again. So here's a little image of how a spinal implant typically works. You have the nerves up there in the spinal cord. They send brain signals from the brain to the legs. The implant boosts the signals, enabling a patient to walk. And when the spine is damaged, these signals are often too weak to create movement. That's for people who have a partial spinal cord injury. This man had a total cut in the spinal cord. That's what the researchers state. And this implant was able to get him to walk. Now, mind you, they're not walking in like everyday people. It is still primitive. It is still a primitive device, but they are assisted in walking. Let's take a look at this. There's still a long way to go before the technology can be used routinely to help paralyzed people to walk. According to Professor Gregor Courtine, that's how I'm pronouncing their name, who led the team that developed the technology at the École Polytechnique Fédérale de Lausanne. I'm sorry for butchering that name. This is not a cure for spinal injury, but it is a critical step to improve people's quality of life. We are going to empower people. We are going to give them the ability to stand, to take some steps. It is not enough, but it is a significant improvement. A cure would require regeneration of the spinal cord, possibly with stem cell therapies, which are still at a very early stage of research. Professor Courtine believes that his implant technology could be used in conjunction with nerve regeneration treatments once they are ready. Kevin Sorbo, on one hand, defending faith to the most idiotic ways possible, horrible movies. And on the other hand, you have science. It's getting people out of wheelchairs and walking. Gonna check out the chat and see what's going on before we do the halftime tummy rub show. Oh, Kevin Sorbo is a legend. Yes, he's a legend for a variety of different reasons. His acting skills in particular. All right, checking out the chat here. And hey, Dee Parks, I am doing well this morning. I like doing the show at 9 o'clock. Yesterday, I did the show at 7 a.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, I have to do the show at 7 a.m. Eastern too. I know I'm not that happy about it, but my day job needs me. So I'm in tomorrow at this time. So this show starts at 7 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, folks. All right. Now, let's do the halftime tummy rub show. This is time that we get to relax, kick back a little bit, look at one of our furry friends before we leap into the last part of the show, everyone. Let's check out what I have queued up.
Do you have a little kitty? Is he very, very pretty? Does he scratch up all his toys? Does he make a lot of noise? Is he very, very fluffy like your very favorite Stuffy? Do you have a little kitty?
That made me laugh. I don't know about you. So, hey, just a note. I forget saying this sometimes, that there are no ads on this channel, right? Sure, maybe some of the earlier videos, but typically there are no ads on this show, right? You won't see an ad here. Whatever I get to help run this show is from you. It's from YouTube members. It's from super chats. It's from patrons. It's for people who throw me a couple of shekels for PayPal and Venmo. Links are in the description below, everyone. And if you can't do that, because look, money is tight for many of us. And if you can't contribute, then of course you can hit the like button, and you can tell a friend of yours about the show too. And to tell you the truth, that is the most important gift of all, is just telling people about the show, spreading the good word, smearing it around. All right. This is an outrageously hopeful show, right? We had some laughs at Kevin Sorbo's, expense, but that's okay, right? Then we talked about spinal cord injuries, about how science is moving forward and helping people walk. And now I think this is a positive story. It can be a positive story. What did Thomas Aquinas say? Nothing is good or bad in itself. It's the use that makes it so. I think that's something like the quote from Thomas Aquinas. But here we go. Tell me what you think about this. With housing costs rising, tiny homes offer one solution to address homelessness. Look, I'm a big tiny home fan myself. I'll watch tiny home shows. I don't watch a lot of reality TV. You would think that documentaries would be reality TV, but I think to be reality TV and I'm digressing. Here it is. You can see two people here who were homeless, but now residing in what appears to be pretty sweet looking tiny homes. With housing costs rising, tiny homes are spreading as a solution to homelessness in California, Indiana, Missouri, Oregon, and beyond. Arnold Schwarzenegger garnered considerable publicity in December when he donated money for 25 tiny homes for homeless veterans in Los Angeles. I'm just going to put a pin in this for a second. Now, it would seem reasonable to me that if you have bled for the country, right? I'm not even going to say this. I'm not even going to say that veterans should be the only ones who get homes. Maybe healthcare and housing, they're innate human rights and should be paid for from the general fund. Perhaps if we did that, it would actually be more efficient cost-wise to actually house people who need housing as against to dealing with all the other problems that homelessness causes in terms of medical bills, crime, misery. All right. It reflects a growing interest in outside-the-box ideas to get unhoused people off the streets, especially during winter in cold climates and amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Anything that increases the supply of affordable housing is a good thing, said Nan Roman, CEO of National Alliance to End Homelessness. We have a huge shortage of housing, around 7 million fewer affordable housing units than there are households that need them. By the way, if you are in Massachusetts, I believe there's going to be a rent control question on November's ballot. Yes, we used to have rent control here in 3 communities, and in 1994, they were all abolished. Let's go on to the next panel. On the outskirts of town, this is in Madison, Wisconsin, by the way, an industrial development near an interstate, the city's new tiny home project features parallel rows of 8 by 8 foot white prefabricated shelters that look like fishing shanties. Unlike other settlements, this one has a full-time staff, including a social worker and addiction counselor. On a recent day, residents streamed out in and out of its cramped offices, either to use the phone or grab a muffin and some cookies. People walked their dogs outside. The 30 residents had previously been living in tents in Madison's busy Rindell Park. And here's actually a picture of it right here, everyone. So, and I know what you're saying. And this is the first thing I thought too. A real concern is that we don't turn tiny homes into ghettos. The thing is that it's important for communities not to just farm out homeless people on the outskirts of town away from services, right? Because that would be, unfortunately, the tendency for a lot of communities is just to put them into ghettos away from services so everyday people don't have to see them. Housing and health are inextricably linked. In a 2019 study of 64,000 homeless people, individuals living on the streets were more likely to report chronic health conditions, trauma, substance misuse, and mental health issues than those who were temporarily sheltered. But not all tiny homes are created equal. They range from cabins with a cot and a heater to miniature homes with kitchens and bathrooms. The communities themselves differ too. Some are just agency-managed shelters that use pods instead of the traditional gymnasium full of bunk beds, said Victory Lafara. What a great name, Victory. A program specialist with Dignity Village, a tiny home encampment since 2000 in Portland, Oregon. Some are self-governing. Oh, I love that idea. Some are self-governing like Dignity Village and offer a path to tiny home ownership. And here's actually a picture of one of these units, everyone. This tiny pod, this tiny home. You get your cot, a refrigerator, shelf for your stuff. Yeah. It's not the Hilton. It's not the Ritz. But it seems to be an affordable way. It seems to be a compassion. It's better than what we're doing now. And it's a step forward. I'm going to check out the chat. Before closing up the show, hey, everyone, I just want to point out that there is an after party after show. It's on my Naked Diner podcast channel. There are reasons why I'm doing this on another channel. I'm spreading out the risk since there's still some potential danger of me getting this channel banned. I still have a warning. So the link is in the description if you want to be on the panel. The link is in the description if you just want to go over and watch the show. It's on the, like I said, the other channel. Going to check out the comments. You forgot to like a Nile O list. All right. Well, now, hey, maybe you can hit the like button. I want to go to the after show today. Cryptameria, there is the links in the show below. There are links down there. How about a tiny home that looks like Snoopy's doghouse? Snoopy's doghouse had was pretty sweet. He seemed to have a lot of sub basements in that thing. Simply Secular Dave. Yeah, tiny homes in Vancouver are all over $250,000. Yeah, you just have to give people housing. You have to give people food. So there are, of course, just like with regular housing, there is affordable housing, and then there's market value housing. Obviously, if the government just applies the money, buys units, you know what I'm saying, right? The people who are homeless wouldn't actually be buying the units. Well, it wouldn't be necessary for them to. I love tiny homes. Me too, Cryptameria. All right. Let's do another cat video. Thank you, by the way, for showing up. Thank you for contributing. Fi says it would be criminal to make people live in those tiny homes. They could do better. I think, and I feel what you're saying. I feel what you're saying. When I saw that picture of the tiny homes in a row, it did look like a concentration camp. To me, it looked like a concentration camp. The ideal situation is to have people in the community, right? If you could have tiny homes in the community, but it's such a complicated issue because of zoning problems in these large cities. But it is a concern. What we don't want to do is to create an inhumane way to house people. Okay, cat video. Thank you, video. I'll see you at 9:30. 9:30, everyone? At 9:30. Thanks again.
Hey, who is that? Sharon? We talked about this. All right, this is my shack, so leave me be, and I can... What the hell? Get out of here!